Hi, Smash.
Hi,
How are
Natasha.
you?
I'm alright, thank you.
Are you okay then to move on to the bit where we're going to think about how you appear to other people?
Yeah,
Talk a little bit
it's
more
not my
about
favourite
that.
topic of discussion, but
I
yeah.
know. So, if we just, is it okay to just run through this example again from last week that you gave about what happened on the bus?
Oh, yeah.
Just first of all. So, we can look through this together. So you were on the bus and you said you heard some laughter and you heard someone say freak as well.
Yeah, someone behind me.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, do you want to talk me through this a little bit, kind of what your thoughts were?
Yeah, so I was near the front of the bus and it felt like someone at the back said freak. I wasn't too sure that that's what he said, but then I heard the laughing and then I thought, oh yeah, they've clocked me now.
Yeah.
And I just figured that they were talking about me because then the guy next to him started snickering as well. And it's happened before as well where, you know, people just look at me and start just making jokes among themselves about me and say that I look like an ogre and a freak and stuff like that. So yeah, and it just made me feel really uncomfortable. So I got off the bus at the next stop and just walked off. Really.
Okay.
It did bother me for the rest of the day though. It was like I kind of keep thinking back to the fact that people notice it all the time now.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like that plays on your mind quite a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So when you were on the bus, saying you kind of felt quite upset, before you decided to get off the bus. Before you got off the bus, kind of what were you doing while you were still on there?
I was just trying not to focus on them, but it was really difficult to do because it's like when you're trying to purposefully not think about something, you just it's so hard to do because I could just hear them snickering away in the back, and I wanted to, that part of me wanted to say, you know, go over to them and just say, do you think what you're doing is right and stuff like that, but I couldn't bring myself to do it, so I just figured get off the bus. That's the only other alternative really.
Yeah. You mentioned I think last time about kind of hiding your face a bit, like trying to
they
couldn't see you while you were on
I kind of do that the best of times anyway because I don't want people to notice, but somehow they always seem to find a way to notice. But yeah, I kind of just put my hand over my face and kind of keep my head down, and I tend to wear like hooded tops and stuff as well, so I pull my head up and stuff too. So people can't, Okay.
And this is something that's come up a few times about you saying you look like a freak in the sessions we've had together.
Yeah.
How, at the moment, how strong would you say that belief is that you look like a freak to other people?
I'm pretty sure of it. Like I say, when it's random people on the bus, that they've got no reason to kind of come up with that themselves, so I must look like a freak.
Okay. If we're thinking about a scale of kind of 0 to 100, how much would you say you believe that you look like a freak on that scale, with 100 obviously being the most?
There are days where it's probably about 100, but probably average out about 80%, I'd say. There are times where, you know, I'll nip out to my local shops and stuff and I'll see people and no one will make a comment, but maybe that's just because I've got my hood up and they don't notice.
Okay.
I don't know. But I'm fairly sure.
So
if they saw me, they probably would comment.
So around 80%. Okay. And how distressing is that to you?
It's horrible. It's really horrible because like I like to think of myself as a fairly friendly person. Like where I grew up, we'd always say good morning to each other in the street and stuff like that. And now I'm afraid to look anyone in the face because sometimes I worry that I'll scare them, and because that's happened as well. Where like I was in the park and there was a little girl there and she was walking the dog and stuff, and I kind of just gave a wave and she looked terrified, and that kind of made me think I really must be scary to look at.
Okay.
So
so it sounds like it was really upsetting to you. Again, I know it can be quite difficult to do, but thinking that scale of like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
At the moment, how distressing would you say it is feeling like you look that way?
It's very distressing. I don't think I could feel worse about it, so I'd say 100.
100, okay.
I can't imagine feeling worse about it. When people make the comments, it makes me wish that the earth would just open up and swallow me whole, so that I didn't have to be in that situation.
And How much kind of disruption do you think it's causing to your life? I know you've mentioned a few things like you won't go certain places and it kind of causes you like to get off buses so you don't always get to where you want to get.
It does get in the way, that's for sure. But at a certain point, there's things you just need to do. Like when I don't have food left in the house, I will go out to the shop and get some.
Okay.
But it makes it difficult because then I've got this whole thing I need to do where I'll go and find the hooded top, or I'll find some sort of hat that I can put on, and I always avoid going when I know it'll be really busy as well, like around time kids get out of school and stuff like that, because I live near a school and there'll be loads of people around, so I kind of have to plan around it, if you will. But, so
again, trying to put it on that sort of scale again, where 100's kind of the most disruption that it could be causing to your life, and 0's none. Where at the moment,
the most it could be. It has been worse before. Like there have been times where it had happened so frequently, where like almost every time I went out, I felt like I was getting comments off people, and people were like staring at me and stuff. So there was a time where I didn't leave the house for about 2 or 3 weeks or something. And I just get everything delivered, so it hasn't been that bad at the minute. So recently I'd say probably about 65, 70.
Okay, so so we said 100% in distressing.
Distress,
and how much you say again? 65?
It's about 65.
65,
65,
okay.
70.
65 or 70 in the disruption it's causing.
Yeah.
Okay. So thinking that other people think you look like a freak, you can believe that quite strongly. 80% you believe it, and that's causing you a lot of distress by the sounds of it. And also causing quite a bit of disruption to your life in terms of what you're able to kind of do at the moment because of that.
Yeah.
Can you think of any ways that we might be able to test out whether other people see you that way?
Yeah, I've thought about that a little bit, because I mentioned it to a friend of mine, and their immediate response was, "You don't, what are you talking about?" And but they're my friends, so especially that person, someone who I've been friends with for a long time, and as much as I know he's honest with me about pretty much everything, I don't think he's too nice to just say, actually, you know what, yeah, you do look like a freak. I don't think he'd tell me even if it were true. So I can't really think of anyone else who I'd feel comfortable asking other than friends, and I don't think that they'd tell me, so it's a bit of a catch-22.
Okay, so kind of friends would probably be nice and kind, so you may not kind of always believe what they say. Okay. Is there anyone else? Do you think there's any other way of testing it out or finding out?
I mean, like I said, like on the bus, when they were laughing, I wanted to go up and say, you know, why are you laughing and stuff like that, and they might tell me it's because you look like a freak, and that'd kind of clarify, I suppose. Yeah, that'd be some evidence, I suppose, for the fact that that's how they feel, or that's what they think. But I can't bring myself to do that though, because that's you never know how it's going to go down. They might not appreciate me going over and asking them, and I could end up getting in some sort of trouble. But then on the other hand, even if they were to say that's what it is, I don't see how that really helps me.
Okay. So I think that sounds like there are potential disadvantages of doing that, and it could be kind of a little bit scary to go and ask somebody outright, a stranger, how they see you. Okay. I was wondering about what about kind of if we ask strangers or people that don't know you, but not having to do that face to face.
Right.
So maybe using a photo of you. If I took a photo and then ask people questions.
Yeah, that could potentially work. But who would you ask?
I could ask colleagues, people I work with.
Right.
If that would be okay with you, if you were happy for me to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose as long as it's not people who I'd have to see and you know, like, because part of me worries that if we ask someone, or you ask someone and they say, oh yeah, he does look like a freak, and then I see them, it'd be, I'd feel, I don't know how I'd feel about being around them. So
okay, so how about if I ask colleagues that are unlikely to see you? So
yeah,
would that be okay?
I guess so.
I guess there's a couple of ways we could do it. Either I could just take your picture and you could think of what questions you'd like me to ask people, and I can ask them and give you the answers, so you can kind of get an idea of how people see you.
Yeah.
Or I could use your picture amongst pictures of other men.
Okay.
So it makes it so they don't know which one is your picture that I'm asking about. So
yeah,
just,
I like that idea more.
Do you know what I mean? So they've got kind of, they're looking at several pictures at the same time, and we can ask the same sort of questions, but they can be looking at all of them at the same time.
Okay.
Does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds better. Yeah.
Okay, so we can go. Okay, we can go with that option.
Okay.
So if we're going to do that, how many pictures do you think we'd need?
Don't know, 5, 6, something like that.
5 or 6?
Yeah.
Okay, so 5 or 6 pictures. And just if males of a similar age to you, would that be okay?
I guess so.
Okay. And would you like to find those pictures, or would you like me to have a look for some?
If you wouldn't mind having a look for them, because I don't know, I might find people who I think look mean and take them in. So. Okay,
that's not a problem. So if I just, I could just get them off the internet, I guess, and Google, Okay, so I'll find some images. And if I bring them along to our next session, then you can have a look at them and check they're okay as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can set that as my between session task for next week as well, to get those images. Okay. So about 5 or 6 different ones. Okay. So should we have a think about the questions and what questions you'd like me to ask? So what is it that you really want to know about?
I guess the glaring one is, do I look like a freak? So,
okay.
I guess if there's going to be okay. So I guess if there's going to be a few different pictures, if they think any of them look like a freak, or which ones they think look like a freak, or something like that.
So if I put maybe, do any of these men look like a freak? And if they say yes, I could ask which ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to know while we're doing it?
I mean, yeah, the thing that bothers me the most is that, like, my nose. I think, like, I feel like it's really like crooked and just doesn't look right, and I think that's part of the issue that people think. I think that's what makes people think I look like a freak. So it'd be interesting to see if other people think that it looks like disfigured or.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea to kind of break it down as well to what you think.
Because that's the bit that I always feel like I need to hide. That's the kind of, I always have my hand up over
your nose. Okay, so specific your nose. Okay. So what's the best way to ask that, do you think?
If any of the people in the pictures have got strange noses, or ugly noses maybe.
So have ugly noses. I think you just mentioned the word before, like disfigured as well. So like ugly or disfigured. Noses. Okay. Anything else? What do you think?
Well, the one person told me that I've got like evil looking eyes before, and that's been something that I've had on my mind for a long time. and I think that might be what sometimes scares kids as well. Like that. Remember I was telling you about that little girl in the park.
Yeah.
Because I had my hand over my face and stuff, so she couldn't see anything really but my eyes, and she looked really scared. So I think it might be something in the way my eyes look that frightens people.
Okay. And again, what would you prefer to do? Just to ask people to look at one particular, ask them if any of these men look like they've got evil eyes, or to rank them, or
ranking them sounds like a good idea actually. Yeah. So
into how kind of
if any of them
they look.
Yeah.
Okay. Or we could do both. Is it too?
Yeah, I mean, if you think it would be a good idea to do both, we'll do both.
So, I don't know. So there's something about looking mean generally, but then also about having.
Yeah, I mean, I think
these kind of mean looking eyes.
I think the fact that I look freakish is what makes people think I'm evil, or that I'm like a mean person. Okay. Just because when they look at me, they see someone who looks like they might be mean and evil. So
we've got, up to now then, do any of these men look like a freak? And if so, which ones?
Yeah.
Do any of them look like they've got ugly or disfigured noses, and which ones, I guess? And then we said about ranking them. So how about ranking in terms of how mean they look? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And what would the opposite of looking mean be?
Looking kind, I guess, or friendly, or
and just good, kind, friendly. Do you expect any people to think that you look kind or friendly?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I wouldn't think. I think people that look at me and assume that I'm the opposite of that.
So how about putting that in and asking people to rank that one as well? So how kind or friendly do these men look?
Yeah, we could do that.
See how people think. Yeah.
Could we have a question that would include, like, about my eyes as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So do you want that to be kind of specifically like, do any of these men have mean eyes?
Yeah.
Okay, that's no problem. Put that in. So before we do this, it'll be really helpful to get some of your predictions as well about what you expect the outcomes to be and what you expect people to say. But I think it's going to be a bit easier to do that once we've got the other pictures.
Okay.
Because it might be a bit harder to decide that without the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
There, especially if
so
people are ranking them, where you think you'll be and things like that. So if I go away and get the pictures before next session, is that okay to do that in the next session?
Yeah.
And decide what you think people will say?
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant. Great, thank you.
No worries.